Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the course of Fundamentals of Public Administration. Course code is MPA 406 and today is lecture number 26. So as you already know that before we move on to our today's topic of discussion, let us have a brief reflection of our previous lecture. Okay. In our previous lecture, what we have discussed, in our previous lecture we discussed about employee delegation, like for example how we can improve the performance of our employees with the help of delegation. Then we talked about different strategies of delegation. In our previous lecture we have also talked about how to retain our employees, and then of course we have also discussed some hiring mistakes, like when we hire people in the public sector of Pakistan, what are the mistakes normally people make during a recruitment selection process. So let us quickly review that what is delegation. Now delegation means that when you delegate, when you give your power and decision making authority to your subordinates, to your team members. Now what are the benefits of delegation? It is really very important that in organizations where the top management or the bosses or the managers, when they delegate their decision-making authority to their subordinates, to their team members, there are wonderful results. The most important benefit of delegation is that employees, they gain more trust. Like for instance, when you are giving a decision-making authority to your employees, they feel more honored and they feel more inner satisfaction. And of course, when they feel more honored and when they have more inner satisfaction, that of course strengthen the trust of that employee on his team leader and of course on the organization as a whole. So there are many benefits of delegation, like for example we have quick decision making. Normally what happens that there are long procedures, like for example there are different channels in the public sector of Pakistan. The file moves on from one section to the other, and then the next section and the next section. So when the powers are delegated, what happens that the channels are reduced, and of course when the channels are reduced, the decision making is quick. So now we are living in a global village. So these days we talk about survival of the fittest. So what do we learn from it? That world is a global village and survival of the fittest. Of course it means that if we are not quick in decisions, if we are not good in our responses, if we are not good in making our decisions quickly, so of course we cannot compete in the market. So when you talk about the public sector universities, you see that there are so many universities in the private sector as well. So there is a tough competition going on. So if you think that if you keep on maintaining your old methods of teaching, you cannot compete in the market. So this is really very important that we, with the passage of time, we need to focus on bringing positive changes in the ways we teach our students. Then we talked about decisions. We talked about decision process and why decisions are important and how decisions are taken. So of course when we talk about decision making, of course for decision making, delegation again has a very important role here. And then in our previous lecture we talked about employee retention management strategies. So how we can keep our employees, how we can retain our employees, this is a very important question the top management need to ask themselves. Because our employees are the most important asset of our organization. And according to Bill Gates, if the most important employees of Microsoft, if they leave, they may bankrupt, or they their performance may decline. So that is why the performance of most competent employees is really important for the survival of any organization, whether it is public sector or private sector. And then talking about recruitment selection process, in our previous lecture we talked about there are certain mistakes, like for example when we hire people in our organization we make many mistakes. Like for example the most important thing is the interviewer also needs training, because the person who is hiring, who is asking question, meaning the interviewer needs to get training before conducting that interview. So this is really very important. Another typical mistake is, like for instance, during the first few minutes, or in most cases during the first minute, एक impression बना लिया जाता है कि like for example कि जो जॉब एप्लीकेंट है उसके पहले मिनट में जो उसकी परफॉर्मेंस थी, उसी पहले मिनट की परफॉर्मेंस को बेस बनाकर उसकी सिलेक्शन या रिजेक्शन का डिसीजन ले लिया जाता है. सो अगेन दैट्स अ बिग मिस्टेक. Then sometimes what happens that there is a mismatch. Like for example, we sometimes select a person who has a different aptitude. So a person having a different aptitude, a person having a different behavior and attitude. Like for example, if a person is good in report writing and table work, and if you select that person for some field job, there is a problem, because there is a mismatch, because the aptitude of that person is office work, table work. And if you select that person, and if you appoint that person in an area where there are field visits too often, so now, then of course what happened that when you hire that applicant, of course then you will spend more money on training that employee. So this is really very important, that during the recruitment selection process we need to ensure that we select the right person for the right job at the right time. Okay, now we move on towards our today's topic of discussion, and today we have really a wonderful topic, and this topic, effective communication skill, has a very important, or I would say that a vital role when we talk about the public administration, because the whole administration, they are involved in communication. Of course, when we talk about the major functions of administration, when we talk about the procedures of administration, when we talk about the rules and regulations of administration, of course, we talk about written communication, we talk about oral communication. So all this is really very important when we talk about effective public administration in Pakistan. So this is really very important, that we need to improve our communication skills. So this is really very important, and these days when we talk about like what is the biggest problem in the organizations in the world, the question is, the biggest problem is of communication, because there are so many communication barriers. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss in depth communication skills, communication barriers, communication process model, how we can improve our communication skills, and what are the general mistakes, and then how to overcome those mistakes and how to overcome communication barriers. And so let us discuss the first slide you see here. Communications can both enhance and enrich relationships, both at work and at home. So this is really very important. So when we talk about communication, so communication is so important in our lives. Like for instance, a good communication can both enhance and enrich our relationships at work and at home. Of course, घर में हमारे सुकून होगा, घर में अमन होगा, घर में प्यार मोहब्बत होगा, घर में ज़्यादा कंफर्ट होगी, तो डेफिनेटली वो पर्सन जब जॉब के लिए आएगा तो वही एक अच्छी सोच के साथ, एक अच्छी एटीट्यूड के साथ, अच्छे बिहेवियर के साथ जब वो पर्सन ऑफिस आएगा तो उसकी ऑफिस में भी परफॉर्मेंस बहुत बेहतर होगी. एट द सेम टाइम ऑफिस के अंदर कम्युनिकेशन जो है अगर स्ट्रॉन्ग होगी, कोऑर्डिनेशन, ऑफ कोर्स कोऑर्डिनेशन इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ गुड कम्युनिकेशन. सो व्हेन पीपल एट जॉब दे हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग कम्युनिकेशन, व्हेन दे हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग relationships. So that is dependent on how they interact, because we talk about interpersonal communication here as well. Like for example, when we dialogue with our colleagues, when we have interactions, when we are working in a team, so of course we communicate with each other. So we have written communication, we have oral communication. So our body language, for instance, our facial expressions, our eye contact, our dress, so things like that are really very important. So this is really very important, that if we want to build and strengthen our relationships at our homes and at our offices, so this is really very important, that we must improve our communication skills. So why not we do something to further improve our communications? So of course there are no two opinions on the importance of communication, because everybody agrees on it, that the communication has a very important role in the performance of any organization in the world, of course including the public sector of Pakistan. Now the question is, what is communication? So here I will say that you are not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you do not say. Okay, what do you understand by this statement? Okay, I repeat, you are not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you do not say. It means कि we have office meetings, जब हम इसको public administration point of view से बात करेंगे, कि हमारे offices में meetings होती हैं, like in a typical meeting we have like 20 to 30 persons are sitting in a meeting. Now there are agenda items, and now you know that अगर आप में से जो लोग job कर रहे हैं public sector में, या for example आपके parents काम कर रहे हैं, आपके family members काम कर रहे हैं, आपके neighbors में कोई public sector में काम कर रहा है, तो आप उनसे पूछें कि during office meetings क्या तमाम जो meeting participants हैं वो क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे हैं, और तमाम जो एजेंडा आइटम्स हैं मीटिंग के उसको डिस्कस कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे, क्वेश्चनिंग कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे, आर्गुमेंट्स दे रहे हैं या नहीं, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हो रही है या नहीं हो रही. एंड यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू नो दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट्स इन मीटिंग्स दे डू नॉट पार्टिसिपेट, दे डू नॉट आस्क क्वेश्चंस, they do not argue, they most of the time they are not giving their point of view. So most of the participants are silent during most of the office meetings. So this is really very surprising and of course very sad situation, because when we talk about the of course improvement of public sector, when we talk about performance enhancement, so how we can improve organizational performance, how we can improve team performance, how we can improve individual performance without good communication skills. So if you're not asking question, but let us assume that you have a wonderful idea in your brain, or you may have, like for example, a new method in your brain. So anything in your mind, if you do not communicate it in office meetings, of course that is not helping the organization. So this is really very important, that you must participate, you must give your point of view, you should have some positive conflict with your team members, with your meeting fellows. So this is really very important, that we need to speak up, we need to give our own point of view with arguments, with logics. Now let us see the definition of communication. Communication is the process of sending and receiving information. Now this is really very important, and this is a very simple definition of communication. So in this way you see that there is a sender and there is a receiver. The sender is sending information and the receiver is receiving information. This is called communication. Now another definition of communication, and this definition is more comprehensive. It says that the sharing of information between two or more individuals or groups to reach a common understanding but not necessarily an agreement. Okay, what do you learn from this definition? So this now we are going to analyze this definition. First, most important thing is sharing of information. So it means that you are sharing information, like for example, if you are a sender and you send any information to the other person, so the other person who is receiving the information is the receiver, and the person who is sending the information, in this case you are the sender, so you are sending the information. So you have information and you want to share that information with the other person, and of course this sharing has a purpose. Now, sharing of information between two or more individuals or groups to reach a common understanding, meaning that both the parties, sender and receivers, both the parties understand the information being shared. Like for example, sender who is sending the information has one interpretation in his or her mind कि जो information मैं भेज रहा हूँ उसका असल पर्पस क्या है, उसके असल मीनिंग क्या है. Receiver who is receiving the information, when he or she is able to fully understand जो information वो उसने receive की है, it means that sender and receiver, they have a common understanding. And of course the common understanding is a very important of course factor when we talk about effective communication. But here it is to be noted that it is not an agreement in most cases. Like for example, आपको मैं कोई बात बताता हूँ और आप मुझे कोई बात बताते हैं, आप शेयर करते हैं कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन मेरे से और मैं आपसे कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर करता हूँ, तो हमें एक दूसरे की इन्फॉर्मेशन को हमने अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया, हमें समझ आ गया, अब मुझे समझ आ गया कि आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं, आपको समझ आ गया कि मैं आपसे क्या कह रहा हूँ. जो इन्फॉर्मेशन मैंने शेयर की है आपने उसको कम्प्लीटली अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया है. लेकिन इसका मतलब नहीं है, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जिस चीज़ को आप अंडरस्टैंड कर रहे हैं आप उसके साथ एग्री भी कर रहे हैं. सो यहाँ पे जब हम बात करेंगे इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन की, तो इन इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन क्या होता है कि यू रीच एन एग्रीमेंट एज वेल. So understanding is important, of course. For any agreement, understanding is the prerequisite. So first you develop an understanding and then you move towards an agreement. So in effective communication, there is understanding and of course there is an agreement between both the parties, sender and receiver. But in case of simple communication, it means that you are understanding the other person's point of view, but it does not mean that it is not necessarily an agreement. Now there are certain facts about communication. Do you know people remember 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, 50% of what they see and hear, 80% of what they say, and 90% of what they say and do. So this is really very important that whatever you say, if you do it as well. मैं आपको एक अच्छी बात बताता हूँ और उस अच्छी बात पे मैं अमल भी करता हूँ, तो इट मीन्स कि उस चीज़ को मैं ज़्यादा याद रखूँगा, बजाय इसके कि आप सिर्फ एक बात कह देते हैं उस पर अमल नहीं करते. तो अगर आप कोई बात कहेंगे अमल नहीं करते तो इट मीन्स कि 80% आपकी उसको आप रिमेंबर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप उसको 90% पे लाना चाहते हैं तो मोस्ट रिकमेंडेड थिंग इज कि जो अच्छी बात आप कहते हैं आप उस पर अमल भी करें. एंड दैट इज 90% ऑफ like people remember that. Another findings are, if you tell people something without repetition, now you see that what happens. After 24 hours, 25% have forgotten it. After 48 hours, 50% have forgotten it. After 72 hours, 75% have forgotten it. And after 1 week, 96% have forgotten it. So this is really very important that we need to revise our books. We need to see again and again our books. We need to see again and again our, these video lectures. So this is really very important, that we need to study repeatedly. We need to study our books. We need to watch these lectures, of course, again and again, unless we completely understand it. And once we understand it, and once we are able to practically implement it, it is really very easy for you to remember it, as earlier discussed. Now here the question is, why communicate? Why we need to communicate? Communicate करने की क्या ज़रूरत है? Okay, what comes in your mind? Okay, why we communicate? So these are some of the reasons we communicate. And the first thing is to convey information. So you have some information with you, and you want to share that information. You want to convey that information to some other person or some other group or some other organization. So you convey, you send, you transfer that information. To receive information, of course we communicate because we are interested to receive some information. So we are interested to get some information or some knowledge about anything. So in order to do that, we need to communicate. To gain acceptance for you or your ideas, of course, you want that people should think about you in, of course, good words, and then you want people to accept your ideas. So God has made all humans, full of potential. Every human has a lot of potential. Every human being has wonderful ideas. So we want to share those ideas. We want acceptance of our ideas. So this is only important if we are good in communication skills. To motivate other people, again, very important. We cannot motivate other people unless we are a good communicator. So if you are not able to convince anybody, if you are not able to convey the information in appropriate manner, what happens that the other persons are demotivated. For instance, if you give a wonderful presentation, that has a very strong impact on the audience. But if you deliver a poor presentation, what happens? There is a negative impact on the audience. There is a negative impact on the people who are watching you, who are listening you. So this is really very important, that if we want to motivate people, if we want to influence people, if we want others people to do what you want them to do. So this is really very important, that we need to improve our communication skills. So in order to motivate other people, of course, we need good communication skills. To maintain relationship with co-workers, clients, etc. Of course, having a good relationships with co-workers and clients and customers is really very important, because our performance is dependent on our customers. Our performance is dependent on our employees. So as according to Philip Kotler, customer has two types: internal customers and external customers. So what we need to do here, we need to focus on both the type of customers, internal and external both. Internal customer means that we are talking about the employees who are working in that organization. And external customer means that we are talking about the buyers. We are talking about the person who is purchasing our products or using our services. So here, this is really very important, that we need to maintain, we need to develop, and we need to strengthen our relationships with the internal and external customers. And that is one of the most important reasons we need to have effective communication in our organization. Another reason to have good communication skill is to establish trust. Of course, when you are communicating well, our coordination and cooperation level goes up. Our performance level goes up. So when our cooperation, coordination, and performance level goes up, so of course that results in strong trust. Okay. What do we mean by trust? What comes in your mind? In the most simplest words, we say that trust means I know in advance what you will do. So I have a very good idea that what you will do. So it means that when the persons and the employees who are working in the organization, when they trust each other, they know in advance what others will do. And that is like a wonderful thing, that when you have a very strong trust among your team members, and of course within the organization, when all employees trust each other, of course the result is extreme motivation and of course better performance. To produce action or change, of course we need to focus on positive change. We need to focus on our actions. So this is really very important, that we need to focus on the like positive things. Like for example, we need to focus on, like for example, changing like attitudes and behaviors. Like for example, we need to bring positive changes in the attitude and behavior of our employees. So how we can do this thing? This is only possible if we like move towards effective communication skills. So when employees, they are having a good communication with one another, it means that they are highly motivated, and of course there is a positive change in their attitude and behavior. Then we talk about technology, we talk about like structural improvements. So these things we need to have, we need to improve in our organization, and that is only possible if we have effective communication. Okay, to understand the wants and needs of your stakeholders. Of course, in every organization in the world, including Pakistani public sector, we have the stakeholders, and we need to have a very good idea of the actual needs and wants of our stakeholders. Like for example, आपकी जो भी organization है, उस organization के साथ किसी का कोई भी अगर स्टेक इन्वॉल्व है, कोई भी एक कंसर्न इन्वॉल्व है, तो उस पर्सन के साथ आपके रिलेशनशिप बहुत स्ट्रांग होने चाहिए, और उस पर्सन की नीड्स एंड वांट्स का आपको आइडिया होना चाहिए. एंड दैट इज ओनली पॉसिबल इफ यू हैव गुड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स. एंड देन टू एक्सप्रेस योर इमोशंस और फीलिंग्स. Of course, we all are human beings, so we have emotions and we have feelings. So this is really very important, that we need to express our full emotions and feelings, and this is only possible if we have good confidence, if we have good communication skills. So persons having good communication skills, they communicate frequently, they share their ideas, and of course they express their emotions and feelings. Now another very important question here is that why students do not ask questions in their classes. Do you have any idea? Okay, what comes in your mind when we talk about students who are not asking questions in classes? Okay, according to research, these are some of the possible reasons why students do not ask questions in the classes. The first reason is students feel ignorant. Now here, this is a perception, and in most cases this perception is incorrect. Like students, they have a feeling, they underestimate themselves. So due to like maybe poor communication skills, or due to lack of awareness, or due to like lack of confidence and things like that, they underestimate themselves and they feel that they are ignorant. But in reality, they are not. Every person has a wonderful brain. Every person has wonderful ideas. So this is really very important that कि ये लोग अपने ideas को, अपने new thinking को convey करें, communicate करें, अपने colleagues के साथ discuss करें. So this is really very important. And then students are ignorant. जब हम बात करते हैं स्टूडेंट्स की इग्नोरेंस की, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल स्टूडेंट को मालूम ही नहीं है कि जो टॉपिक डिस्कस हो रहा है वो क्या है. सो व्हेन द स्टूडेंट्स दे आर कंप्लीटली इग्नोरेंट, उनको मालूम नहीं है जो टॉपिक डिस्कस हो रहा है उसके बारे में उनको कोई आइडिया नहीं है, तो दे डोंट स्पीक. Reluctance to point out trainers' ignorance. Very important point here that some of the students, they do not ask questions, they do not participate well because they do not want to disrespect the trainer. They do not want to disrespect the teacher. So some students, they know that maybe the teacher is not competent, and there is a chance that teacher will not be able to reply appropriately. So this is another reason. And then students have cultural barriers. Of course, हमारे कल्चर में हमें कहा गया कि बड़ों से, जैसे बचपन से हम देखते हुए आ रहे हैं, सुनते हुए आ रहे हैं कि बड़ों से जो सवाल नहीं करते. ना एक या जो लोग लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल इस तरह के स्कूल से पढ़ते हुए आ रहे हैं जहाँ पे टीचर ने इनकरेज नहीं किया कि वो क्वेश्चन करें, आर्ग्यू करें क्लास में और अपना इंडिविजुअल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दें, इस चीज़ को मोस्ट केसेस में हमने देखा कि मतलब इग्नोर किया गया कुछ स्कूल्स में. तो यही चीज़ इम्पैक्ट आगे आ रहा है कि जब ये स्टूडेंट्स कॉलेज में आ रहे हैं, यूनिवर्सिटी में आ रहे हैं, तो वही एक उनके ऊपर एक इम्पैक्ट है उनके कल्चर का, और ये तमाम वो जो शुरू से करते हुए आ रहे हैं कि वो उनको मे बी क्लास में इनकरेज नहीं किया गया कि वो क्वेश्चन पूछें. सो इस वजह से भी सम स्टूडेंट्स दे डू नॉट आस्क क्वेश्चंस. सो ओवरऑल जब हम इस स्लाइड की बात करते हैं तो ऑफ कोर्स व्हाट डू वी लर्न फ्रॉम दिस स्लाइड? We learn that we need to overcome these reasons. We need to overcome these areas. Like for example, we need to be optimistic about ourselves. हमें अपने बारे में अच्छा सोचने की ज़रूरत है. हमें अपने आप को ये कहने की ज़रूरत है कि मेरी क्या स्ट्रेंथ्स हैं और अपनी स्ट्रेंथ्स को मज़ीद स्ट्रेंथन मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ, और जो मेरी वीक एरियाज़ हैं उनको किस तरह मैं अपनी स्ट्रेंथ्स में कन्वर्ट कर सकता हूँ. ऑन दी अदर साइड, we can of course practice can improve your competency. This is really very important that we need to start participating. वो क्या कहते हैं कि गिरते हैं शह सवारी मैदान जंग में. तो I strongly believe that there are no mistakes. It is only learning. So if 10 times you make a mistake, it means that you are trying to learn 10 times. So you are learning until learn. So this is really very important that we should initiate, we should start participation, we should ask questions from our teachers in our classes. So of course in this way we can improve our communication skills. Now today we are talking about effective communication skills and its role in public administration. Of course, in public sector, we need to improve its performance. We talk about efficiency and effectiveness of the employees who are working in the public sector of Pakistan. So how we can do this thing? क्या हम सिर्फ हर वक्त हम बात करते रहें, हम बड़े बड़े नारे लगाते रहें, हम हर वक्त सोचते ही रहें और हम अमल की तरफ अगर नहीं आएंगे तो definitely we cannot bring improvement in the public sector of Pakistan. So how we can do this thing? So today in this lecture we are trying our level best to bring positive changes, how we can improve our performance, and having effective communication skill is one of the most important skills we need to have in order to bring wonderful positive changes, wonderful positive improvements in the performance of our employees. And once we are able to improve the performance of our employees, I guarantee you that we can reach the benchmark. We can set the benchmarks for the entire world. And this is possible. Nothing is impossible, because the word impossible itself says that I am possible. So how we can do this thing? How we can make the impossible possible? So in order to do that, we need to have a questioning mind. So what do we mean by a questioning mind? So it means that we need to keep on asking questions. Even we need to question ourselves as well. आप अपने आप से सवाल करें, एक आप स्टेटमेंट लिखें, एक आप पैराग्राफ लिखें और एक उसके ऊपर एक सेल्फ क्रिटिसिज्म करें, उसको एक तनकीदी जायजा लें. So try to make your mind a questioning mind. So whatever you observe, whatever you see, whatever you read, so whatever you say, so what you need to do, you need to think about it. You need to be a good critical thinker, meaning that you need to ask questions. So in order to ask questions, you need to have a good questioning mind. So people who improve their performance, who go for creativity and innovation, so who have great ideas. So people having great ideas, how those ideas comes in? Because they have a questioning mind. What emotions do these facial expressions portray? So now you see that these are different pictures, and when you look at these pictures, you see that you see anger, sadness, happiness, feeling honored, high stress, low stress, and things like that. So this is really very important that we must analyze each other's facial expressions when we are meeting with our fellows, when we are meeting in people in our office meetings. So we need to analyze others with the help of their facial expressions, with the help of their body language. Now according to research, now I need your close attention here. Kindly इस slide को बहुत गौर से देखिएगा. You see the original message, percentage of understanding lost in communication. Now this is a typical जो एक message जो top management की तरफ से आ रहा है towards the low management. So when the top level जो है, when they send information from the top level, like for example information is traveling from the top to bottom, right? So top management understanding is 100% when they are sending the information. जब information top management से vice president level तक आ रही है तो understanding level is 63%. Vice president उसी information को जब नीचे भेज रहा है, general manager understanding is 56%. General manager उसको भिजवा रहा है division manager को, and division manager's understanding is 40%. And then when it moves to unit manager's understanding, it is only 30%. And when it comes to employees' understanding, it is only 20%. So now you see that there is 80% information loss on average. So this is really a very serious issue, because the top management, they have a different vision, and the persons at the low level, they have very poor awareness about that vision. Top management कुछ और करना चाह रही है, low management कुछ और उसको understand कर रही है, middle management की partial understanding है. This is what is going on in the public sector of Pakistan. So it is really very important that we need to stop this information loss. We need to improve our communication skills. We need to improve our understanding level. And this is only important, this is only possible when we are able to improve our communication skills. Now this is called a communication process model. Okay, on one side you see that there is sender, on the other side we have the receiver. Now sender is encoding the message and sending that message with the help of a channel. Now the channel could be television, radio, some office letter, memorandum, face-to-face communication. So anything, any media, with the help of that media or with the help of that channel, the sender is sending that message. And the message then goes to the receiver, and receiver decodes that message and tries to understand the message. And then the receiver sends the feedback to the sender कि मुझे information की समझ आ गई है, मुझे message की समझ आई है या partial समझ आई है, I am able to understand or I am unable to understand, या मुझे partial understanding हुई है. तो एक feedback receiver से sender को मिल रहा है. Now there is called noise. इस diagram में आप देखें कि noise means that there are certain communication barriers. Like for example, distortion हो सकती है. For example, organization के अंदर आपका एक status barrier हो सकता है. Like for example, one person is in grade 22, the other person is grade 10. So they have a, sometimes they have a status barrier. Like for example, when they communicate with each other, so they have a, their status varies, their grade varies, their grade is different. So एक psychological एक problem आ जाता है कि like for example grade 10 का person जब grade 22 के person से बात कर रहा है या grade 22 का person grade 10 से बात कर रहा है, तो definitely grade 22 वाला उसके एक different tone, एक different उसका एक तरीक़ेकार है कम्युनिकेट करने का, और ग्रेड 10 पे जो है वो डेफिनेटली वो उसका एक डिफरेंट है, तो डेफिनेटली अंडरस्टैंडिंग में फ़र्क आ जाता है. सो दीज आर कॉल्ड द कम्युनिकेशन बैरियर्स. So this is called the communication process model. So when we want to improve our communication skills, we need to bring positive changes in this communication process model. Like for instance, we can improve the content of the message. अगर हमें ये feedback आ रहा है receiver से कि I am unable to understand the message, or maybe I am partially understanding the message, it means that the content of the message are complicated. So there is some problem with the contents. So what the sender needs to do here, the sender should rephrase the message. एक ही बात को आप दूसरी तरह से आप लिख के पूछ सकते हैं, एक ही बात को डिफरेंट एंगल से आप पूछ सकते हैं, डिफरेंट वर्ड से आप पूछ सकते हैं, राइट. एंड देन चैनल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप एक मैसेज देते हैं और चैनल आप उसको देते हैं फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंटरनेट के ऊपर. ना इंटरनेट फैसिलिटी अगर रिसीवर के पास नहीं है तो डेफिनेटली वो उसको कैसे वॉच कैसे करेगा, उसको पढ़ेगा कहाँ से, उसको कहाँ से रिसीव कैसे करेगा. सो द चैनल सिलेक्शन इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द रिसीवर्स, लाइक कि रिसीवर के पास वो फैसिलिटी है कि नहीं, रिसीवर की एक्सेसिबिलिटी है कि नहीं उस चैनल तक, इस तरह के फैक्टर्स आप देखेंगे. सो दीज थिंग्स आर रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो इफ वी वांट टू improve our communication skills at our workplace, we need to improve all of these steps of the communication process model. Now let us discuss this wonderful slide. It says that words are energy. Of course, we should never use words like defeats, failure, and problem. Always talk of hope, belief, faith, victory, and success. Because जब आप, like for example, आपने कुछ लोग देखे होंगे जो हर वक्त मायूसी की बातें करते रहते हैं कि ये भी बुरा हो गया, वो भी बुरा हो गया, अब पता नहीं क्या होगा, अभी कैसे हो रहा था, कल कैसे होगा, पास्ट में क्या हुआ था. So they are just blaming और वो बहुत मायूसी की बात कर रहे हैं. आप कुछ ऐसे लोगों से भी मिले होंगे. So they are talking about hope, they are talking about victory, they are talking about success. So what do you think? इन दोनों में से आप कौन से लोग आपको ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं? Definitely persons who talk of victory, persons who talk of success, persons who talk of hope, persons who talk of belief and faith. So इस्लामिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी मायूसी गुनाह है. तो जो लोग मायूसी की बात करते हैं, हर वक्त प्रॉब्लम्स की बात करते हैं, हर वक्त क्राइसिस की बात करते हैं, तो अल्टीमेटली एक दिन क्या होता है कि वो खुद क्राइसिस में आ जाते हैं। उनका अपने बारे में दे अंडर एस्टिमेट देमसेल्व्स, मायूसी की तरफ वो मूव कर जाते हैं और डेफिनेटली उनकी परफॉर्मेंस डिक्लाइन की तरफ चली जाती है। तो दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हमें ऑप्टिमिस्टिक होना है, हमने बेहतरी की बात करनी है, हमने इंप्रूवमेंट की बात करनी है, हमने अपने आप को, अपनी परफॉर्मेंस को बढ़ाने की बात करनी है। सो व्हेन यू यूज अ पॉजिटिव वर्ड, इट रेजेस योर एनर्जी लेवल एंड पुटिंग यू इन अ विनिंग फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड। सो ऑफ कोर्स विनिंग फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड के लिए जरूरी है कि हम पॉजिटिव वर्ड्स यूज करें, क्योंकि ये हमारे एनर्जी लेवल को बढ़ाता है। लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, व्हेन यू आर एक्साइटेड अबाउट योर वर्क, when you think positive about your work, when you think that I am doing something wonderful in my office, so what is the impact? Impact is your energy level increases, your motivation level increases, and you are in a winning frame of mind, and that is your real inner satisfaction. Words are energy, use them in your favor. Okay, words are really an energy. Like for example, एक पर्सन अपने काम में इंटरेस्ट नहीं ले रहा, आप उस पर्सन के साथ बैठें एंड देन एनालाइज द सिचुएशन एंड आस्किंग अबाउट द रूट कॉजेज जिसकी वजह से वो अपनी परफॉर्मेंस नहीं दे रहा बेहतर, एंड डिस्कस हिज प्रॉब्लम्स, हिज इश्यूज, उसकी नीड्स एंड वांट्स को डिस्कस करें, एंड विद द हेल्प ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स यू कैन मोटिवेट दैट पर्सन. And you will see this amazing result that in short period of time that person's performance will jump because of your wonderful words, because of your words full of energy. So we can, why not use that energy for ourselves as well. So continuing our discussion on words are energy, one of the major philosophers says that communication is really all anyone ever gets paid for ultimately. And if you cannot effectively communicate, you will pay, not get paid. So there is a huge difference, there is a big difference. If you are poor in communication skills, if you are not good in communication, you are paying all the time. But when you are strong in communication skills, you get paid. People invite you, people pay you, people demand you. So this is really very important. Allah Ta'ala ने हमें इस दुनिया में भिजवाया, तो what is the purpose? The purpose is we must contribute. हम सब ने इस दुनिया से जाना है, और इस दुनिया से जाने से पहले एज ए मुस्लिम हम अपना एक कंट्रीब्यूशन करके जाएं, हम अपना एक इनपुट दे के जाएं, ताकि हमारे जाने के बाद, या इवन मैं तो यहाँ कहूँगा कि हमारी ज़िंदगी के दौरान में ही हमें नज़र आ जाए कि हमारी कंट्रीब्यूशन के इम्पैक्ट्स क्या हैं. एंड दैट इज़ ओनली पॉसिबल व्हेन वी इम्प्रूव आवर कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स. सो उसका सबसे बड़ा फ़ायदा ये है कि जो आइडियाज़ हमारे ब्रेन में हैं, जो काम हम करना चाहते हैं वंडरफुल, जो पॉजिटिव काम हम करना चाहते हैं, ऑफ कोर्स इंडिविजुअली हम उसको of course in most cases not possible, so we need other people, we need teams, we need organizations. तो definitely लोगों के साथ मिलके जब आप काम करते हैं, and when you have strong communication skills, people get motivated and they are willing to do anything for you. So this is really very important that we need to focus more on improving our communication skills. Now let us discuss some of the myths and realities about the nature of communication. Let me ask you myth number 1, and that is we communicate only when we intend to. Meaning that हम उसी वक्त communicate करते हैं जब हमारा इरादा होता है कम्युनिकेट करने का. ओके, व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट इट? डू यू एग्री और डिसएग्री? The answer is, the reality is, we frequently send messages we are not aware of. Okay, for example, आप अपने क्लास में जाते हैं और आपने एक जॉगर्स पहने हुए हैं, आपने रेड कलर की विदाउट कॉलर शर्ट पहनी हुई है, टी शर्ट पहनी हुई है, और आप बिल्कुल इनफॉर्मल से ड्रेस में हैं, तो what message it will communicate to your class fellows, to your teacher, right? So you're not speaking, you're just like silent, आप चुप करके बैठे हुए हैं, आप अपने काम में बिजी हैं अपने क्लास में, लेकिन आपका ड्रेस, आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज, आपके फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन कॉन्टिन्यूसली मैसेजेस सेंड कर रहे हैं जो लोग आपको वॉच कर रहे हैं. तो दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो दैट कि अगर हम खामोश भी बैठे हैं तो वी आर कम्युनिकेटिंग बिकॉज आवर बॉडी लैंग्वेज, आवर फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन, आवर आई कॉन्टैक्ट, आवर ड्रेस, द वे वी सिट और स्टैंड कम्युनिकेट्स अ लॉट. इवन आपके ड्रेस का कलर क्या है, इवन आपके चेहरे के फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस कैसे हैं, right? So these things communicate a lot, and according to research, body language is 65 to 70% of communication. We communicate as if the words themselves had specific meanings. This is another myth when we talk about communication. When we talk about the nature of communication, where are the real meanings of words? Okay, what do you think? Where are the real meanings of words? The real meanings of words are in the relationships. The real meanings of words are in people. Like for instance, आपके पेरेंट्स आपको कोई काम कहते हैं तो आपका रिस्पॉन्स यस में होता है, राइट? एक अननोन पर्सन आपको कोई काम कहता है और आपका बॉस आपको एक काम कह रहा है, सेम काम, तो आप किसका काम पहले करेंगे या किसके काम पे आप ज्यादा फोकस करेंगे? डेफिनेटली यू विल फोकस मोर ऑन योर बॉस ऑर्डर्स, कि आपका बॉस आपसे क्या चाह रहा है, आपके बॉस की क्या इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं. मीनिंग दैट कि व्हेन टू पर्सन्स आर सेइंग द सेम थिंग, तो एक पर्सन को आप यस कर रहे हैं, दूसरे पर्सन को आप इग्नोर कर रहे हैं या नो कर रहे हैं. मीनिंग दैट कि जब भी हम यस करते हैं, नो करते हैं, जो हमारे रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं, जो हमारे रिएक्शंस हैं, दैट इज डिपेंडेंट कि हमें जो भी बात कम्युनिकेट की जा रही है वो कह कौन रहा है, हु इज कम्युनिकेटिंग. सो दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So the real meanings of words are not in the words. The real meanings of words are in people. The real meanings of words are in the relationships. The stronger the relation, the stronger the meaning. The weaker the relation, the weaker the meaning of those words. So words do not have specific meanings. Meanings are in people. We have just discussed it. Myth number 3 is communication is a one-way activity of telling people something. Now this is really very important to know here that communication is not one way. Communication is a two-way activity in which feedback is vital. Like for example, आप एक मैसेज कम्युनिकेट करते हैं और उस मैसेज का अगर रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता, it means that this is one-way communication. And one-way communication में what is missing? Feedback is missing. So we must have a feedback. We need to know that कि whether जो information मैंने convey की है उसको properly understand किया गया, नहीं किया गया, उस पर अमल किया गया, नहीं किया गया, उसका क्या impact हुआ, उसके क्या results हुए, कितनी बात समझ आई है, कितनी बात नहीं समझ आई receiver को. So how we can know about this thing? This is only possible with the help of feedback. So like for example, you watch television, there are many advertisements on television. So in most cases those commercials are one-way communication, because they are telling you something and आप उसमें response नहीं दे रहे. But these days there are some advertisements, like for example there are toll-free numbers or free calling facilities there. So numbers are there, so they ask you to call right now. So they have created a sense of two-way communication in some of the advertisements. So we need to focus more on two-way communication. Myth number 4 is you can give others too much information. Of course, information overload is not recommended. जब आप किसी को बहुत ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन दे देते हैं तो उसका सबसे बड़ा नुकसान ये है कि जो थोड़ी बहुत समझ आई है वो भी खत्म हो जाएगी. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1 घंटे का लेक्चर आप किसी को देते हैं, अब 1 घंटे की बजाय आपने उसको 2 घंटे का लेक्चर दे दिया, 3 घंटे का लेक्चर दे दिया एक ही वक्त में. उसका सबसे बड़ा नुकसान ये होगा कि स्टूडेंट को जो बात समझ आ रही थी 1 घंटे में, और जब आपने 2 घंटे ऐड करके उसको 3 घंटे का लेक्चर कर दिया, तो जब बहुत ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन आप कन्वे करते हैं, शेयर करने की कोशिश करते हैं रिसीवर से, तो रिसीवर का अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल बढ़ने की बजाय डिक्रीज होना शुरू हो जाता है. सो शेयरिंग ऑफ टू मच इंफॉर्मेशन इज not recommended. So information overload can be just as much of a problem as not having enough information. Okay, what we have discussed today. Today we have discussed the importance of communication. Today in our lecture we have talked about the role of communication in effective public administration. So when we talk about the public sector of Pakistan, there are so many issues, and the most important challenge is having good communication skill, because this is one of the biggest problem in almost every organization of the world, that there is a communication problem. So in our today's lecture we have talked about communication process model. In our today's lecture we have talked about the definition and the real meaning of communication. So in our today's lecture we have talked about certain myths, like for example आज हमने बात की कि there are certain myths about communication, like for example, can we give others too much information? Of course not, because information overload is like conveying not a single information. So जब आप किसी को information बहुत ज़्यादा communicate कर रहे हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा convey कर रहे हैं, जो थोड़ी बहुत understanding है वो भी खत्म हो जाएगी. Then we talk about, like for example, where are the real meanings of words? This is another myth. The real meanings of words are not in words. The real meanings of words are in the relationships. So it is really very important. Like for example, जब हम अपने public sector के rules and regulations की बात करते हैं, तो we know that कि we have to follow these rules and regulations. So that shows that we have a very strong relation with our organization and things like that. So the real meanings of words are in the relationships. And then we have talked about different reasons of communication, why we need to have communication. So we have discussed those reasons in depth in our today's lecture. I hope that you have enjoyed today's lecture. Inshallah, see you all in the next lecture. Thank you very much, and Khuda Hafiz.